Open your phone and look at your home screen. There is a good chance at least one of those apps has been quietly turned against you. Same icon, same login, the same app you downloaded 10 years ago. But the thing you actually liked about it is gone, and nobody sent you a notice. There was no update that said we have replaced your friends with strangers. No note that said we have made search worse on purpose. Kept opening, and one day you noticed you were scrolling past videos from people you have never heard of, made by nobody, about nothing. And here is what most people get wrong. You probably assume it got worse by accident, that the engineers got lazy, or that the internet decayed on its own. The way things do. It did not. Every one of those changes was chosen, modelled in a spreadsheet before it shipped, tested on a slice of users who were never told they were in the test, and reported to shareholders as a win. Because what is happening to your apps is not a decline in quality. It is a business model, and it runs in a fixed sequence. Once you can see the sequence, you can predict which app is next, and roughly when. So I went through the earnings calls, the shareholder letters, and the product announcements, and mapped out exactly how a good app gets converted into Slop. And the reason nobody told you it was happening is the same reason nobody ever had to. To show you how this works, I am going to stop being me for a minute and be them. So say I run product at a very large technology company, and the company I work for is called Alphabet. Actually, scratch that. Alphabeta. My job is not to make you happy. My job is to make a number go up every 90 days, forever. And there is no version of this job where the number is allowed to be flat. Phase 1 is where everybody falls in love with me. In the beginning, I lose money on you deliberately. Free storage, no ads, a feed that shows you what you asked for in the order it happened. If you are a creator, I send you traffic for free. If you are a developer, my interface is wide open. Every one of those decisions is expensive, and every one of them is temporary. I am not being generous. I am buying you. Phase 2 is when I run out of people. Everyone on Earth who is ever going to download this app already has it. User growth is finished. And when you cannot grow the number of people, there is only one lever left, which is how much I extract per person. Lever 1 is ad load. 2 ads becomes 4. Sponsored results move above the real results. The thing you search for is now the 4th thing on the screen. Lever 2 is the feed. Order by time is a disaster for me, because your friends do not post enough to fill a session. Strangers do. So the feed stops being what you subscribe to and becomes what performs. And I am not optimizing for whether you liked it. I am optimizing for whether you stayed. Lever 3 is cost. Content made by humans is expensive, slow, and it has opinions. Content that is generated is fast, endless, and costs me close to nothing. So I do not stop the flood. I reward it, because it fills the same slot for less money. Lever 4 is the paywall. Everything that used to be the default is now the upgrade. No ads is a subscription. The good search is a subscription. The feature you had in 2017 is a subscription. And none of that sequence is mine. A writer named Cory Doctorow laid it out in 2023. First, the platform is good to its users. Then it abuses its users to make things better for its business customers. Then it claws back all of the value for itself. He gave it a name so rude I cannot say it in this video, and the American Dialect Society made that word the word of the year. But there is one more part, and it protects everything else. The real risk to me is not that you get annoyed, it is that you leave. So I close the interface that let other people build a better version of my app. I make sure your photos, your history, and your followers cannot come with you. I tie your login to your email, your files, and your phone. Because once leaving costs you more than staying costs you, something flips. Quality stops being an asset and becomes an expense. Every dollar I spend making this good is a dollar I did not have to spend, because you are not going anywhere. That is the moment the app is worth more to me broken than it ever was good. And I am not guessing at how far I can push it. I am measuring it. Every degradation gets tested against a control group first, and the only question I'm asking is how many of you left. Nobody in that room is asking whether it got worse. They already know it got worse. They are asking whether worse was survivable. And the answer keeps coming back yes. And none of this ever gets announced. If a creator takes money to promote a product, the rules say they have to tell you. If I quietly rewrite the ranking system that decides what 400 million people see tomorrow morning, I do not have to tell anyone anything. You are in the experiment. You were never asked. So yes, Alpha Beta is not real, but every lever in that sequence is, and I can show you where each one landed. Start with the case against my own argument. Netflix spent a decade saying it would never run ads. Then in November of 2022, it launched a cheaper plan with ads, started cracking down on password sharing, and everyone said it would burn 20 years of goodwill. It did not. Netflix passed 325 million paid memberships by the end of 2025. Advertising revenue grew more than 2.5 times that year, to over $1.5 billion. And they did not force existing subscribers onto the ad plan. They left the choice with you. So the honest version is that extraction does not automatically mean ruin. Sometimes a company squeezes and the thing survives the squeeze. Hold on to that because it is the exception, and I want you to know that I know it. Now the middle case, Instagram. An app people joined to see photographs from people they chose to follow. Then video became the priority, and the feed filled with accounts you had never followed. In July of 2022, the backlash got loud enough that Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian were posting about it, and the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, went public and said they would walk it back. And this is the part everybody forgets. He said the retreat was temporary. He said they would get better at ranking and then grow the share of recommendations again. He told you exactly what was going to happen. And it happened. By April of 2024, Mark Zuckerberg was telling investors that for the first time ever, more than half of what people see on Instagram is recommended by AI. And on the most recent earnings call, he described generated content as an entire third category to fill your feed with, alongside your friends and the creators. That was not a leak. It was a shareholder update. Then the worst case, which is really two companies telling the same story. Google spent nearly 30 years teaching the world that the way to find something true was to search for it. Now the top of that page is ads and shopping, and underneath it is an answer written by Google itself, assembled out of the pages it is standing on top of, so that you never have to click through to any of them. And we know what that did. The Pew Research Center tracked the real browsing of 900 American adults across roughly 69,000 searches. When one of those AI summaries appeared, people clicked a normal search result 8% of the time. Without a summary, 15%, roughly half. And the links inside the summary, the ones crediting where the answer came from, got clicked 1% of the time. The product that organized the web now competes with the web, and it is winning. Reddit is the same move with the mask off. In 2023, the company started charging for access to its interface at a rate that made the independent apps people preferred impossible to run. The developer of the most popular one worked out that it would cost him $20 million a year and shut it down. More than 8,000 communities went dark in protest. Reddit went ahead anyway. Then it went public. And then it started licensing the thing its users had made for free to AI companies, in a deal with Google reported at around $60 million a year, signed weeks before that offering. The unpaid labour of a community became the inventory. And there is a fourth version of this that has nothing to do with advertising. In April of 2025, the chief executive of Duolingo sent a memo to his staff and then posted it publicly. The company was going AI first. It would gradually stop using contractors to do work that AI could handle. And the users revolted. People deleted streaks they had kept for years. And on the earnings call that August, he said the quiet part out loud, which is that daily user growth came in at the low end because of what he had said. Their fix was to make their social media posts nicer. Now here is the fair version. Duolingo kept growing, and nearly a year later, the company dropped AI usage from employee reviews. And he went on a podcast and said AI is not actually better at the work than his engineers are. So this is a company that pushed, got hit, and pulled back. But notice what it took. It did not take a regulator. It took enough people, all at once, threatening to leave. And it is already pointed at the people least able to notice. In February of this year, the New York Times ran an experiment. They watched a Cocomelon video, The Wheels on the Bus, the most ordinary thing a toddler can watch. Then they watched what the platform served next. In a 15-minute session, more than 40% of the recommended videos appeared to be generated by AI. Not videos a child searched for, videos the system chose. And what is inside them is the part that should bother you. Reporters and child development researchers have documented generated clips showing a baby swallowing whole grapes, which is a choking hazard, an infant being fed honey, which can kill a child under 1 year old, and a nursery rhyme teaching that green means right. A human animator does not make those mistakes. A model producing 1,000 clips a day has no idea it is making them. By April, more than 200 organizations and experts, including the American Federation of Teachers, had signed an open letter to the chief executives of YouTube and Google, asking them to stop recommending this to children at all, which tells you it is not a glitch nobody noticed. It is a system doing exactly what it was measured on. Here is the part that goes past annoyance. For most people, these apps are not entertainment. They are how they find out what is true, what is happening in their city, whether a product works, whether a claim is real. So when ranking is for sale, and the content filling that ranking is generated at no cost, what you are looking at stops being the internet and starts being a rendering of what somebody paid for. And there is no rule against any of it. Nobody has to disclose that a ranking system changed. Nobody has to tell you a feature you relied on was removed. In most places, nobody has to label what was generated. Now, the defense you will hear is that engagement proves consent, that if the recommended videos did not work, you would not watch them. But being placed in an experiment is not the same as voting in one, and a system that only measures whether you stayed has no way of knowing whether you are glad that you did. We stopped trusting television, then newspapers, then search results. The recommendation feed is the last thing a lot of people still quietly treat as neutral. And it was never neutral. It just had not been squeezed yet. So here is where this ends. Within a few years, the default assumption flips, and you will open anything and assume it was generated until something proves otherwise. And at that point, the question stops being whether the app is any good. The question is who gets paid when you scroll. I am going deeper on which platforms are furthest along in this sequence in the free newsletter in the description. And if you want the version of this story where the money comes from outside the company entirely, watch this one next.